my school, we talk about trying to develop rounded individuals. It's a key theme. Lots of schools have that theme. So you have, in my school, has a bassoon department. I mean, that's quite exciting. But obviously, science matters. And in the middle there, you've got a group who are equalities group called Paperclip. We launched as a Stonewall Champion school this year. All these things are part of what we think of as our curriculum. They're not just the subjects that we teach. Sometimes people think the curriculum is this, the subjects, and how many periods you give to each one. Obviously that does matter, but it's not the only story. We do have compulsory languages and humanities, although we think humanities should include a lot more than just history or geography. But also for us, arts is a compulsory option, and that's the thing that we think is really important for our school. And you can see that we have 2 hours a week of music in my school. We think that's important. It's a decision that we've taken. We also think about how we teach as well. So the curriculum for us isn't just about the subjects, it's also how they're delivered. And we need to communicate the curriculum to parents. Parents are part of the community. We serve the community. And we talk about cultural capital a lot. So we have various entitlements which we pay for free using our pupil premium funding so that students get to go to Paris, they get to go to the battlefields in Ypres, and they get to go on an Outward Bound weekend for free as part of their entitlement. This is an idea about teaching kids about historical facts. We think they should all know certain facts. And we're developing this for next year, where there will be 100 historical facts that every child in Highbury Grove should know about. And also things like community service. This is a charity fundraising thing, getting a sense of moral values, a sense of moral purpose. That's curriculum too. And this is a slide from outdoor education. We think that's important, that students should experience the world in which they live, the country that they live. So when you're presented with this horribly lame idea of an e-back from the schools minister, you can get quite angry about it because it takes no account of all those things that I've just shown, which are what a real curriculum is. This idea that we have a national framework which defines a very narrow set of ideas about what learning must include. If I have students taking the subjects on the right, my school would get good and Ofsted and not outstanding. Whereas if they take the subjects on the left, the school could be outstanding. I think that's utterly ludicrous. You prove to me that the child getting the education with the subjects on the right is less well educated. That can't be defendable, surely. Art, sociology, music are not fundamentally less rigorous or more definitions of a more complete person than geography, computer science and resistant materials. It's a nonsense. And yet this is the situation we're in now, where a government minister is able to impose that on schools. I think it's anti-democratic. I fundamentally think it's wrong. And it's not about social justice, it's about politics. So I think we need to challenge this. I think as schools we need to rise up and say, no, you can't do that. We won't accept it. And I'm part of a group of head teachers where we feel we are empowered to challenge. Who has the right to say that one curriculum matters more than the other to that level of detail? I don't think it should be the Secretary of State. I think it should be about communities of people around a school who have to be held to account by the people who they serve, and sure enough by the inspectorate if necessary. But a couple of years ago, before the e-back, when the e-back was invented, a group of us were so annoyed about this idea. I was particularly upset that the baccalaureate word had been robbed, because I had previously been working in an IB school, International Baccalaureate School, and I always thought that if we had that in the UK, how great that would be, a baccalaureate, a proper baccalaureate system. And then through the Heads Round Table, we gathered a few people together and we thought, well, what would we want it to be? Why don't we actually just say, what do we want, rather than always being in opposition? And we came up with this idea that there should be levels of success for all learners, that a proper national system should allow success for every single learner in it at the appropriate level. And originally we thought we invented this idea of progressive grades, where you would get certificates at the level that you should be at, like with piano grades, where you don't sit grade 8 if you're not going to pass it. You take the grade that you're closest to. We then realised that it's actually politically untenable to invent new exams. We thought that's not going to work. But then we realised last year that a lot of us were trying baccalaureate ideas in our school. But the problem was that the students didn't believe it because it wasn't real. We thought what we need to do is actually make this a national system, and then the students will really want it. So we decided we need to gather together all the people in the country who are talking about baccalaureates. And what we discovered was there is a movement, has been for 25 years. People have been trying to get a national baccalaureate off the ground in this country for decades. So we invited everybody we could think of to come, and there's a massive consensus that this is something which is timely, that is necessary, and that we should pursue. And we've reached the point now where it's about to go live. Last week at my school, that was the poster for it, we held a convention. So we have now set up the National Baccalaureate Trust. This now exists. And we are going to be promoting the National Baccalaureate for England across all schools and colleges in England from now on. This is a slide which we often use to sort of motivate us at my school. It's a slide of a boy who's currently in year 11, just finished, when he's on the top of Cad Idris on an outward bound. Because the fact that this is in our curriculum, we think is really important. This matters. It's not just a trip. This is a core learning experience, and we think that needs to be valued. So when he comes into the sixth form and takes the baccalaureate, that will be part of his experience that he can say matters. And I think that's really powerful and really important. This is now live. This is real. You can join. If you represent a school or a college, you can use that email address, get on the mailing list. You can start helping us to pioneer this grassroots movement, free from government interference. This is the system taking care of itself, a national movement to recognise what an education for all young people should be.